Sorry if I'm sweating a little bit. It's not actually that hot here in Mexico City. I've just come out of the gym. I've still got a bit of a pre-workout buzz going on. But anyway, yesterday I was sitting with a cup of coffee, checking my emails and catching up after a pretty busy sort of New Year's period, celebrating with friends and stuff. And I came across an email from an event I've actually attended many times with Mrs. Millions, actually here in Mexico, down on the coast in Acapulco actually. And this year it's going to be in Puerto Vallarta. And I was just reading through it, skimming through right to the end, and I came across the sponsor list, like the main sponsors. And what I saw, I was actually pretty shocked by. So I got to the bottom of the email and I saw that one of the main sponsors of Anarchapulco, which I'll tell you about a bit more in a minute, is TEXIT. So two worlds sort of just collided that I never thought would collide. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I think they're such a great match. Now, Anarchapulco is an event which takes place once a year. It's actually a pretty big deal in the freedom community. So if you're into anything like freedom, holistic health, privacy, sovereignty, that sort of thing, it's a massive deal. Like, people from all over the world come to Anarchapulco. I've been coming since about 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and me and Mrs. Millions actually had the first leg of our honeymoon. We flew straight to Mexico, straight to Acapulco, and had a 5-day event down there. It's a beautiful setting. And then we went off and travelled Mexico extensively for about a month after that. But I've been around 3 times, I would say, in the past. And it's an incredible place. I've met some amazing people from the US, from the UK, from Europe. It's a pretty big deal, let's just put it that way. So for TEXIT to be one of the main sponsors there, there's definitely going to be some eyeballs that get onto TEXIT from that crowd. And you know, a lot of that crowd are sort of like, you know, probably Monero maxis, into privacy and stuff like that, which I've spoken about in the past as well. But it's going to be great to have TEXIT front and stage. So they have basically some speakers coming from all over the world to talk about the kind of things I've just sort of mentioned in this sort of privacy, freedom, holistic health type of areas. And I'd imagine that obviously being one of the main sponsors, that TEXIT is going to probably have a talk. So some eyeballs are definitely going to be getting on to TEXIT. And in my opinion, just my humble opinion, TEXIT, the reason I'm even involved with it in the first place, look, I don't come from Texas, obviously. I don't come from anywhere in that region. I'm living here, obviously, here in Mexico City right now, which is a bit closer. But I just really align with what they're doing, what they're bringing to the table. And they seem to be filling the gap where Bitcoin has so far failed. And that is being an actual usable cryptocurrency. Now, obviously I love DeFi. I love the fact that we can sort of be our own banks and we can sort of stake and we can earn that way, and which is brilliant. But who's actually spending crypto without going through a middleman like a bank or, you know, that type of organization? Now, people are sort of begging for institutional involvement and stuff like that, and Bitcoin's become more and more sort of just used as a store of value. And I know a lot of us have done pretty well with Bitcoin over the last sort of however many years, but we are just hoarding it basically. No one's actually spending Bitcoin, and that's why I think, you know, Monero has actually filled a gap there. You know, being private and everything, people do actually use Monero. But TEXIT is aiming, if you don't know about it already, so I know some of you do, I know some of you already have the miners, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, but they are going to basically become a usable currency, and that is like the ultimate utility, in my opinion, in crypto. One you can actually use. So vendors are going to be able to use it, merchants, and they also have a layer 2 coming out, which again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, I'll come to that in a minute. But so with TEXIT, you can mine them using the miners or the hash rate. Now in the UK, I never try to mine anything because it's basically got the highest electricity bills in the world in the UK. It's like 400% higher than the US. So I'd imagine it'd be a bit easier here in Mexico. It's way cheaper here, but there's no point in most cases mining in the UK. So basically I can remote mine by buying the hash rate. So I'm buying the miner, but I'm buying the hash rate. Someone else is dealing with housing it. I don't have to have a garage full of, you know, miners eating up all the power in the house. So that's basically what I've done. I've got 5 seats or 5 miners at the moment in TEXIT, which are mining every single day. So I've got a long-term vision on TEXITcoin. The price is down fairly substantially since its highs around $5. I think it's around $1.20 at the moment, but they have made some changes recently. Bobby Gray, the founder, is tightening up the ship, trimming the fat, as he says. I'm just going to get into a slightly better place here because it's a bit dark around there. All the beautiful trees, so leafy here, so third world and dangerous. But Bobby Gray is basically trimming the fat, so there's going to be a lot less of the old school people that were in first being able to sort of milk the system. And with the layer 2, it's going to reduce the sell pressure on the actual TEXITcoin. So what they're going to do is they're creating the downtown digital dollars, and that's already being rolled out. They've already put pen to paper with some major partners on that one, and that's going to allow communities almost to create their own tokens and their own coins, even stable coins as well. And TEXITcoin will be like the gas token. So it's going to mean that people don't have to actually sell the TEXITcoin. And what this does is it hugely decentralizes from community to community. Now, this is the whole point of crypto, in my opinion, because that's where Bitcoin failed. No one spended. We're still using banks, right? It's 2026. We're still using banks. We're still using these institutions, which, you know, again, for some reason, everyone's begging to get involved, thinking, you know, it's going to be a great thing for crypto. Well, really, in many respects, the noose is just tightening on people in crypto. You see that in Europe, in the UK. And what this is going to do, you know, with the downtown digital dollar and things like that, it's going to enable people and merchants to use the currency and keep the wealth in the communities, rather than going back through Visa, you know, all these major sort of parasite banks and governments. And it's basically decentralized money in a nutshell. And that is what we need right now. I really do think we need that. So that is what TEXITcoin is bringing to the table. Hence why I'm involved. That is a major part of it. So, you know, you can buy the miners. They're $9.95 each for the hash rate. There's two ways you can get them basically. Number one is you just buy them. So I bought my first one, $9.95, and I put out some information. Some people got value with it, and there's basically going to be 1 million miners in total. That's the only miners that are ever going to exist. So once they're sold out, that's it. There's going to be no more. So I think they're about 22% sold out right now. So they are selling steadily, and I've got 5 seats at the moment. So I do aim to get a few more, because they're spitting out TEXITcoin every single day, and I do have a long-term sort of road on this one. I'm not selling. I'm not panicking at the price decrease. You know, I've been through all of this with other tokens, and I'm waiting for their turn. So I'm just accumulating TEXITcoin right now. So yeah, the reason I think they're such a great match, these two, Anarchapulco and TEXITcoin, is they're both kind of standing for the same sort of thing. Yes, TEXITcoin isn't private, it's a fork of Litecoin, but it circumnavigates. So the view on this one is going to circumnavigate the banks, and communities are going to be able to have this as their own currency. And I think that's absolutely freaking incredible and exactly what crypto needs right now. So I'm staying fully involved in TEXITcoin. If you do want to buy a miner, you can, obviously, if you want to support the channel, you can buy through me. If you want to go and do a bit more research, you know, I would always suggest do a ton of research on it. I've got 5 miners, and they're currently spitting out, I think, 2 or 2.5 TEXITcoin a day, which obviously at this price is not a great deal. But, you know, I didn't have any miners in my portfolio whatsoever. So it was the easiest way for me to get involved in mining. So if I put a few grand into a Bitcoin miner, I would be making probably pennies per day right now. I'm not even bother with that sort of thing. So TEXITcoin was a no-brainer for me, and I've got a long-term outlook on the price as well, especially since they've already been up at $5 plus, which is awesome. So I'm staying put in TEXITcoin. So yeah, if you want to sign up, if you want to get a miner, please let me know. If you can hear that in the background, if you've ever been to Mexico City, you would have heard this, but basically people go around on these sort of trucks collecting, I think, like furniture and old fridges and stuff, and they play this same track. It's really bizarre. My Mexican friends did actually tell me what they said at one point, but I've actually forgotten. But here they come. So they're gonna, here we go. It's you'll hear it all over Mexico City. It's brilliant. It's crazy. But yeah, as you can see, so leafy, so many cafes, dangerous cafes and dangerous leafy fountains and stuff around here in the sort of Roma, Condesa type area. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to Anarchapulco this year. It's in Puerto Vallarta. I've not been, it's the first time they're having it there. But I would suggest that anyone who is into the things I've mentioned, freedom, privacy, sovereignty, that type of thing, definitely give it a look. The tickets are actually fairly reasonable considering the type of speakers you get there, quite world famous speakers, and you get a chance to talk to them one-to-one. I've talked to some amazing people down there, you know, some incredible sort of doctors, health professionals, and in the holistic world, and some really great crypto guys as well. So definitely check it out. I'll probably just leave the official link so you don't go into dodgy websites. I'll leave the official link for Anarchapulco. I don't get paid for telling you about that. It's just I like to spread some nice knowledge. If you're going to be in Mexico, or if you're close to Mexico where you are, give it a look. And I'd imagine Puerto Vallarta, I've never been, but it's down there on the Pacific coast. I'm sure it's really, really beautiful. And we've had some amazing times, made some lifelong friends at Anarchapulco, and I'm so pleased to see TEXITcoin in that mix. I just couldn't believe it when I opened that email. So I'm going to go and grab a coffee at one of these dangerous third world cafes over here, and have an amazing day, whatever you're doing. Stay bullish, stay TEXITcoin in, and I'll see you all in the next video.